It's time for Mac Geek Gab, and listener Todd brings us our quick tip of the week with Copy in Finder File Preview. I do this all the time, but in case someone else does not know, I often need to copy a value out of a PDF. I click once on the PDF in the Finder, hit the space bar, double click on the value or word, and Command C to copy it. It works like a charm and is very efficient. If the text in the PDF is not selectable, I use TextSniper to OCR to the clipboard. More quick tips like this, plus your questions answered on today's Mac Geek Gab 1023 for Monday, February 5th, 2024.
And welcome to Mac Geek Gab, the show where you send in tips just like that one. You send in your questions, as Adam said, and we try to answer them. And you send in your cool stuff found. We share those too. We share some cool stuff found of our own. The goal being that each and every one of us learns at least 5 new things every single time we get together. Sponsors for this episode include hims.com/MGG, where you can start your free online visit today. And then linkedin.com/MGG, where you can post your first job for free today. We'll talk more in depth about each of those in a little bit. For now, here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And here in South Dakota, I'm Adam Christianson.
And here in New Hampshire, for those listening live, happy Groundhog Day. It's Pilot Pete.
And for those not listening live, happy Groundhog Day.
Happy Groundhog Day.
This is how it repeats itself, by recording it and wishing everyone a happy Groundhog Day. I knew we would stumble on to this. Our time shifting of things has finally succeeded. I love it.
Go.
In addition,
Dave, before we start, let me be the first to wish everybody a happy Groundhog Day. Sorry. I couldn't help myself. I'll stop now.
Welcome to spring. Welcome to spring, right? They pulled that little rat out of the log, and he said,
"No shadow." Yeah, early spring.
Shadow. Yeah, that's right. To celebrate early spring, we will have our next Mac Geek Gab Hangout, but it's also a Mac Hangout. Mac Geek Gab Hangout on Sunday, February 18th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. If you are subscribed to MacGeekGab.com/calendar, this already is there. In that calendar event will be the Zoom details and passcode. If you aren't subscribed to the calendar, join our Discord for the Zoom details or the passcode, or make sure you're subscribed to our email list at MacGeekGab.com. We will also send you the Zoom details and the passcode there. We just can't post the passcode on social media because we did that once, and that hangout sucked. Yeah, well, we had all the script kiddies coming in. Adam, you weren't there. Like they were. Like, I give them credit. They fooled us.
Clever.
They were clever. What they did was they would join and then change their name. We've also changed the security on this so no one can change their names. But they would join and then change their name to match someone else in the room, right? Like, some actual real person.
Like
and then they would post. Then they would post the filthiest thing that they could possibly imagine, and quickly change their name to something else, which would cause us to boot out a legitimate user. And we played whack-a-mole like this for far too long one Sunday afternoon. So we don't do that anymore. We enjoy the hangout. The subject of this hangout, instead of it being whack-a-mole, is going to be talking Mac web browsers. Now, that is true, and we will talk Mac web browsers. There was a discussion in Discord about it, and it seemed like the kind of thing where if we could... a lot of people were saying, well, I like, somebody was like, I like Arc browser because I can have, side tabs on the side instead of tabs at the top. And several of us asked, can you show us that? Like, I get what you're saying and I understand it like mechanically, but I don't understand it experientially. And seeing some screenshots is like, oh, I see how that works. So the idea is, with Zoom, we can all share our screens, or any of us that want to can share our screens and kind of show each other how we're using the features we like in our favorite web browsers. And even if we all have the same favorite web browser, my guess is we're all doing slightly different things, and it really makes a difference. So that's the the stated topic of our hangout. But for anyone who's been to
You're
our
gonna be
hangouts, go ahead, Adam. What's that?
I was going to say, if you're going to be sharing screens, it's a good thing you got that security locked down.
Yeah, we figured that part out. Yes.
You don't need it becoming a big old chat roulette.
No, we don't need it becoming chat roulette. I'm actually upset that you even mentioned that term here on sullied Mac Geek Gab with that. Right up until this moment, we were happy that Adam joined, and then no, seriously, very, very, very happy. But the conversation will devolve. I was going to say evolve. It will devolve into whatever it is we want to talk about. I have no doubt that we'll wind up talking a lot about Vision Pro and all of that good stuff because people will have them in hand. Speaking of, Adam, yours, we are recording this on Friday the 5th. It comes out on Friday the 5th. We're recording it on Groundhog Day on the 2nd. And so yours is due to arrive after we've finished. I have
by 9 p.m. tonight.
Right. Okay. All right.
It'll be here sooner. UPS usually gets here right after lunch, so I would expect it sometime right after lunch.
Yeah.
Your afternoon is shot.
Pretty solid. Exactly. I'm gonna be doing. Yeah.
Cool.
So one of the reviews called it, basically said it's like a drug.
I believe that.
Like they said that's the most dangerous thing about it is like, and I see that, and my family is super concerned about that, to be honest with you.
Well, because
you're going to go into this thing and we're never going to see you ever again. It's like,
well, they'll just see you through the thing. Like that's
it's a little frightening, a little dystopian.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, the whole internet is like dystopian in that way. Like we're disconnected from one another. It's
But just a real quick question. I think it's a projection of your eyes, right? It's not translucent. It's a projection of your eyes onto the screen in front of you. So someone feels like they're looking at you.
Again, the reviews are that in person, it's actually really bad and low res. And so like the marketing, they've done some nice adjustments on their marketing videos and things where it looks a lot more transparent, but apparently like in real life and some of the YouTube videos, when you see it, the eyes can get off a little bit and a little distorted and wonky.
Googly eyes.
And they need to do some work on that feature. It sounds like it's not quite ready for. And the other thing is Personas, they're launching as beta. So that too. So the whole Persona thing, which looks really great. Like they got the face down, but a bunch of people pointed out, Joanna Stern, I think if you watch her video, you'll see how bad it is, especially for someone who has longer hair or wears more flowing clothes, because you do the scan and your face is animated, but your hair is not. So you get like hair helmet. And then if you're wearing jewelry and it's off to the side, or you turn your head, right? If you have normally hair that would flow, your hair doesn't move. It's just like,
oh, right. Of course. Yeah.
It's like frozen in time. So yeah.
Huh. Yeah.
But they say it's beta. So hopefully they can get some physics in there at some point for hair and clothing and stuff like that. I don't know how far they can take it, but
right.
That's funny. I mean, it takes some serious coding to make it look natural. That's not just a, computer, can only do what you tell it to do.
That's right.
Yeah. But the face tracking is really excellent. And somebody pointed out, I didn't think about this either, is how are they doing the mouth? Because there is no camera pointed at your mouth. There are the down facing like cameras. So there must be some sort of combination of audio and to get the lip movements.
That would be my guess. Is they're creating the lips that would match the sounds you're making with your mouth.
I mean, apparently it's really good. So,
that's cool. All right. Okay. All right. Well, I have no doubt that we will talk about that on the next episode, which is, a special number for us nerds, which is MGG 1024. We might have a special guest with us next week, too, for MGG 1024, and we might do some other things. But we will almost certainly be talking about your Vision Pro experience, after a week or so with the device. So I'm looking forward to that.
Maybe Shall we do come in as my persona?
Yes, you will come in as your persona. If we can rig that up, that'd be great.
That'd be cool.
That'd be
Dave,
terrible.
I have to ask before we get into it. If the dog bark, I can turn my mic to mute through most of this. Not getting it. Okay, good.
No.
The gate's Gates
Yeah, the audio magic is doing whatever it's doing. Yeah.
The neighbor's dog has decided that now is the time to go nuts. So
I got to tell you, obviously, we've been doing this show for almost 19 years, and not quite as long as Adam did MacCast yet. But we've been obsessed with audio quality the whole time, and used all the technology available to us to make it sound as good for you and us as we possibly can. The last couple of years with what we'll call AI, but it's really just machine learning, pattern matching, the engines that can use that in real time to clean up audio are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Apple's got some. The platform that we use for our voice and video connection is called StreamYard. It's got some. We mostly leverage the one in StreamYard. And then, Pete, are you using anything on your end to do that?
I have Audio Hijack Pros running, I believe. Let me see if I've got that one on. So I've got speech denoise.
Audio Hijack Pro speech denoise. Okay.
Yeah. Because but when I turn on the AU sound isolation, which is an Apple filter in Audio Hijack, it gets really hinky. So
Apple's speech, the AU sound isolation plugin, it works, but when employed in real time, there's a slight lag that we notice, which we don't get with the Audio Hijack speech isolation. Or the other one that I use here on my end is from Isotope. It's called RX10, which is RX is their suite of cleanup tools. Yeah. And I'm just pulling the name up here. It's called Voice Denoise, RX10 Voice Denoise. Okay. And that one works great in real time. But it's just amazing. Like if we had this capability 5 years ago, it would have changed things for the show.
Yeah.
Like it's great. Yeah.
And you mentioned StreamYard, and I'll say this for anyone wanting to do a podcast. That I was in Singapore last week when we recorded the show that's out this week. And at one point, I was missing probably 40% of the audio during the live stream. The beauty of StreamYard is it takes your audio, puts it on your computer, and then uploads it. So the show sounds clean. It's like I was there the whole time. They were there the whole time. It's really impressive technology that they take it all and upload it as a file as opposed to the digitization that I was getting when we were using
in real time.
Yeah.
This is for your So There I Was show,
Correct.
right? Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, we knew that we had lots and lots of stuff to go through, and so
now it's time for quick tips.
Now it's time for just the quick tips. That's right. Yep. Adam, you want to start us off?
Sure. We got John giving us some additional details about Apple Vision Pro and the lens inserts. He says, like Adam, I ordered the Vision Pro on launch day. One thing that caused confusion was the dialogue about Zeiss inserts. I asked whether it asked whether I had an eyeglasses or contact prescription, to which I said both. Then it asked which I use more, and I said contact lenses. It then asked if my contact lenses were monovision, meaning that one was for far away and one was for reading. And then I said yes. It then said I needed inserts, but I was confused because it did not ask which eye is close and which is far. And that information is not on my contacts prescription. When I asked to upload, it was not clear if I should upload my eyeglasses prescription or my contact lens prescription. I talked to 3 different Apple reps about this. None of them could answer this question about which prescription to upload and how they were going to deal with the monovision issue without knowing which eye was closer, which eye was far. But I finally reached Zeiss support and got the answer. With normal contacts, you don't need inserts. With monovision contacts, Apple Vision Pro will display strangely with or without inserts. So the only option is to use inserts without contact lenses, and hence I should upload my eyeglass prescription. The other thing I learned is that uploading your prescription is not only mandatory, but they won't accept it without the prescription showing your date of birth. The date of your eye exam has to be within the past year. I thought it was 2 years, but
I thought it was 2 years. I think it is 2 years, yeah.
Signature of the doctor and the full prescription number. The Zeiss rep said that many uploads were being rejected because one or more of these requirements was missing. Anyway, I thought this clarification would be helpful to some of your listeners who got tripped up in the onboarding process. So thanks, John, for that. That's a lot of additional detail and a lot of good things to know. Because I would imagine, surprised we didn't hear more about this, because I would imagine it would have been very frustrating on pre-order day if a lot of people were getting rejected on the prescription thing.
I wonder if they were rejected after the fact.
Correct.
Right. Well, but not on pre-order day. Like, in the days following. I don't know. Yeah.
They're probably easier to correct. So I would imagine it's just a matter of you can get that corrected and they can still get the lenses in there. I think they have a good supply of the lenses.
It seems so bizarre to me that like I can go and order lenses from, iBuyDirect or Zenny, and they ask for your prescription, but they just ask you to type in the numbers and put in the date, right? Like it's up to you as to whether your prescription is current or not. They aren't being the vision prescription police, right?
Right, exactly.
And clearly these companies, clearly someone at the FDA or whoever might care about these things is aware of this by this point in time. I mean, iBuyDirect and Zenny send glasses, sell glasses all the time. And so I'm just surprised that
Okay. I hear myself. Does anyone hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Your mic shows mute, Dave.
Yeah, you got muted.
and I am back.
It says you're not connected. It says your mic is not connected.
Believe it or not. You hear me right now?
Yeah, barely.
Barely. You're on your intro.
It's like you're on your MacBook mic, not your.
Well, it depends on what you're talking about. For the video, yes, that's right.
It's like your phone's microphone is picking us up now.
We'll get there. It's totally fine. That's gonna work out.
There you
fine.
go.
There you go.
And now I have you guys back, right? Talk to me.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay.
We here?
Yeah, great. Okay. Great.
Only we had some tech guys that knew how to fix this stuff.
I got to do an edit here. That's fun. I'm surprised that Apple is choosing to be the vision police here, and I'd be curious to know why that is. Is there something do they want to play really extra special nice with the FDA so that they can I don't know. They don't have to. Pete, yes?
Yeah. Dave, you know this. You don't have to ask. It's the lawyers.
Yeah.
Right? And you know what they say about lawyers? 99% of them ruin it for the rest. Okay, don't send me email, guys. That's funny.
I know. And I thankfully I've met the rest. Lawyer Jeff out there is amazing.
There you go.
Why? But why Apple's lawyers and not anybody else's lawyer? This is the question I have. I don't. And I know this is rhetorical, and it's
hundreds of millions they spend on lawyers.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back in my next life as an Apple lawyer.
I don't know that you want that job. I've had to talk to some Apple lawyers.
That's true.
Pete. It's not. Yeah,
that's like work. They expect results.
I think the difference here is that glasses and eyeglasses have been around for centuries, right?
Yeah. Oh.
So we know eyeglasses, right? We're talking about a brand new, unproven technology that you are having people put on their face for extended hours of time with displays, this close and lights shooting into your eyes. And, I think they're a little more concerned, you might have a better case for a lawsuit if you get damaged by this thing. And if you have the wrong lenses, that's really probably on you, but you're going to go after.
But still, that's it. That makes perfect sense because this is not a pair of glasses. You're absolutely right. I think, yeah.
I mean, no one knows what's going to happen. Yeah.
No. Yeah, of course. All right. So back to the quick tips. I discovered something this week. I had to punt on my network time machine backup because despite me having tons of room and continuing to give it more room on my Synology disk station, Time Machine kept telling me, you don't have enough room. So I was like, all right, fine. It's time. And so I wiped it out and then had to go in on my Mac in the office and tell it, go, choose this as a new time machine destination. And it did. And it came up with the screen and it gave me the option to encrypt my backup or not. And then below that was something I did not know existed. It had an option for disk usage limit in Time Machine, at least for a network volume. And it was defaulted to none, or I could choose custom, and then it showed me the full amount of space on the volume, and I could drag a slider back and forth to set whatever quota I want. So I set it to just shy of the full size of the quota that I had set on my Synology, but it wouldn't have known that. It can't see that. It just sees a volume of a certain size, and that's it. And so I set it to just shy of that. And now when I look in Time Machine, it says, that there is a 1.05 terabyte quota for that volume. No amount of right clicking or control clicking or option clicking or any other type of clicking that I could come up with gave me the ability to edit that after choosing it the first time. So choose wisely. But and I don't know if when it starts to get full, if it can't successfully stay within the limits via its pruning, will it ask me, do you want to increase the quota, Dave? My guess is it will not. But anyway, I was shocked to see this. I don't know how long it's been there, but it hasn't been that long. It's either new with Sonoma or maybe, Ventura right before it. So, but otherwise, yeah, because this happens once a year or something that I need to wipe out a backup. So, yeah, I know. I was impressed. Listener Joe brings us our next quick tip. He says, I have a trip to Mexico planned next month. Same. I was not planning to buy an international pass for his phone data, as I won't need data while I'm there. And he's with Mint, which now has their Minternational Pass, which is priced a little bit differently than things used to be. He says, what will happen with text messages and phone calls, though? In the past, I've always kept a small roaming balance so that any inbound... This is really interesting. I will answer this question. I screwed things up when I created this quick tip because this is a question from Joe, and this is not the quick tip that Joe had sent in, but I will answer the question now we're here. He says, in the past, I've always kept a small roaming balance so that any inbound texts or calls will make it to me. What will happen now? What will happen now, Joe, is that you will not get them if you are on cell data. Mint, there is no, you used to be able to keep a roaming balance with Mint, and it would just deduct, 5 cents every time an SMS came in, or, however many cents your phone call would have cost from that balance. Those went away now, and they gave you your money back. They put it into a thing that you can use like for renewals or anything else you want to buy with Mint. So you didn't lose the money you had in your roaming balance. But now, if you don't have a Minternational plan, which is everything, for a short period of time, you can get it for a day or 7 days or whatever. If you don't have that Minternational plan, texts and phone calls will not come through to your phone unless you are on Wi-Fi calling, in which case they still will. So that answers that question. And now Joe has a quick tip for us. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, I noticed that. Something about Safari tabs.
Yeah, he notes that if you choose to open a new link or a link in a new tab, right? You can right click on a link and say open a new tab, or command click on it if you have it set up that way. So there's another quick tip. You can just have links open in new tabs by command clicking. If you open a link in a new tab and then you click the back button, it will close that tab and go back to where you came from, which is a nice little quick tip.
Interesting.
So, yeah. So thank you for that, Joe, and thanks for the bonus question too.
Right.
I think we were going to answer that later in the episode, but there you go.
A twofer.
I screwed up the workflow. It's because I don't know how to manage my own clipboard. That's really what it comes down to, guys. Let's see. Tanel points out an interesting thing with the iOS 17.4 beta that he has been using. Siri, he says, on my iPhone is set to British English. Since I live in Estonia, I get a lot of messages in Estonian. No surprises there. Siri tries to announce these messages, but obviously British Siri cannot read Estonian. American Siri cannot either, but British Siri is slightly better as it pronounces vowels more similar to Estonian than American Siri does. Yesterday, he says, I was surprised that while driving, Siri announced a message that was sent in Estonian, and then it said, if you want to reply, you can do it in English. Naturally, I parked my car and checked the Siri settings, and there it was. In settings, Siri and search messaging with Siri read messages, Finnish/Finland was selected. So Siri assumed that I am getting messages in Finnish, which makes sense as the two languages are similar. More importantly, Finnish Siri can read Estonian with no problem. Very interesting. I like to see. Yeah, that's something that would have gone unnoticed had you not shared it with us, Tanel. That's a good one. Yeah. Yep. So, there we are. That's how we do it. I got one more quick tip left before we move on. All right, great. Ben shares with us. He says, in episode 997, you were talking about keyboard shortcuts on the Mac in Messages. He says, I just discovered that I can click an individual message on the Mac to select it, and then press Command T for Tapback, Command R for reply, or Command E for edit if it's a message I just recently sent. When nothing is selected, these shortcuts act on the most recent message. And by the way, these keyboard shortcuts also work when using an external keyboard with iPhone or iPad. However, those devices don't support message selection in the same way, so I don't think you can use the keyboard for these actions on an older message in a conversation. And he's right. I immediately went and messed with this when I saw the note in our Discord. But I also noticed that Tapback and Reply auto-select the most recently received message, even if I've sent things since then. So, Pete, if you texted me something like, looking forward to the show tomorrow, and I said, great, if I hit Command T, it would choose your message, not mine, even though mine is the most recent.
Right.
Yep. But if I highlight my own sent message in that scenario, then the settings, then the commands would apply to that. So I could tap back my own message or reply to my own message, but I have to select it. It auto chooses the most recently received one. And I found that pretty interesting. All right, folks,
Okay. You're the only one on mute, Dave, according to what I'm looking at. Ooh, I can read lips.
The odd part is that this keeps happening. No, what's happening here, and obviously I'll edit these out of the show that goes live for the listening audience. But what keeps happening is my computer keeps saying that it lost contact with all of my audio devices. But it's not just like a hardware audio device that it's losing connection with. It's everything, because what's going in and out of StreamYard are my virtual audio devices, and those don't have, it's not a plug issue, it's a core audio issue. Yeah. And I'm looking to see, what would I have running that, and, I'm actually curious, does Discord see, did that get reset too? Nope, that came back fine. Okay.
Are you on 14.2.1?
Yeah. No, I'm on 14.3.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Well, the timing is perfect because I'm just going to play the ad, and it's going to be fine. So that's what I'm going to do here. All right, folks. Ever feel like your health is running on low battery, but there's no time for a reboot? Enter HIMS, the one-stop tech-savvy solution for men's health. Think of it as the latest software update for your body without the annoying wait times. Whether it's upgrading your hairline or turbocharging your performance, HIMS brings the doctor's office to you 100% online, just like we like our tech. Say goodbye to awkward pharmacy lines. With HIMS, it's all discreet, direct, and no need for insurance. Just like downloading an app, but for your health. And don't get caught with outdated health routines. HIMS offers everything from chewable ED treatments to hair loss serums, all shipped for free. Manage it all with the HIMS app, track your progress, and get advice from experts. It's like having a health genie in your pocket. So, my fellow tech lovers, it's time to update your health routine. Start your free online visit at hims.com/MGG. That's HIMS.com/MGG for your personalized treatment options. HIMS.com/MGG. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. And remember, guys, in tech and in health, don't get caught running on empty. HIMS has got your back, and our thanks to HIMS for sponsoring this episode. All right, so you know how finding the right app can be a game changer for your tech setup? Well, when it comes to hiring for your small business, LinkedIn Jobs, our sponsor, is like that must-have app, but for finding top-notch professionals. I love to tell the story about Sadie, our social media wizard, right? We found her through LinkedIn Jobs, and candidly, we'd have more luck finding a vintage Apple I in mint condition than stumbling upon her elsewhere. LinkedIn isn't just a job board, it's a vast network of over 1 billion professionals. It's like the iCloud of talent, massive, diverse, and just a click away. And here's the kicker. 86% of small businesses find a qualified candidate within 24 hours. It's faster than your computer boots up in the morning, even with that M3 system on a chip, right? Plus, LinkedIn is always updating, like adding features to help you write job descriptions. It's as if they're the iOS updates for hiring, always making things smoother and more efficient. So, for all you small business owners juggling a million tasks, don't get caught in the hiring maze. Go to linkedin.com/MGG. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/MGG. Again, that's linkedin.com/MGG to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. And remember, in the world of tech and talent, don't get caught without the right team. And our thanks to LinkedIn Jobs for sponsoring this episode. All right. Adam, we got a question from Antony here who says he came over with you from MacCast and is loving things. I agree. He says, if I take a photo on my iPhone 15 as a JPEG, then airdrop it to my MacBook Pro, open iCloud Photos in Safari, and drag and drop it into a new album in iCloud, there's no issue. It uploads straight away. However, if I then take a second photo, taken and saved in Apple's proprietary, I don't think it's proprietary, but in Apple's HEIF image format, it gives the following error. There was a problem uploading one file. Only files in JPEG format can be uploaded. Why would Apple do this? Any ideas, Adam?
Yep, great question. And unfortunately, the answer is that according to Apple's iCloud team, or that specific answer could only come really from Apple's iCloud team, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But I can confirm via Apple's iCloud support documentation, which we will link to, that you can only upload JPEG files via the web interface. So, that's just the way it is. And I can also confirm that HEIF is not a proprietary Apple format. As a matter of fact, most browsers are now supporting that format. As a web developer, I noticed this recently. So we use a bunch of services that'll auto convert, to the fastest, most efficient format for browsers. And it used to be WebP, and now I'm seeing things come across in HEIF.
Oh, interesting.
Which is kind of cool. Yeah.
That is kind of cool. Yeah. Huh. All right. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
While I'm going to call a little audible here because I might as well. Dean had a question. Adam, you want to take us to Dean?
Sure.
Because I think it's kind of related.
Dean says, I currently automatically have my photos go to Google Photos where I grab weekly local backups, the 3-2-1 method. They are organized by year and by month. My question is, I'm looking for some software, please, not Apple Photos, that will let me view all folders and photos, thumbnails with an option to open, and possibly even search for them if possible. If I had to explain in short, looking for something like Google Photos feature set, probably not nearly as feature rich, but local software, I could point to my NAS where my photos are backed up. Any suggestions would be greatly appreciated. Love your show. You guys rock. Keep up the good work. I'm always listening.
Thanks, Dean. We appreciate you always listening. If Apple Photos isn't your thing, there's something that we've talked about on this show before, and I've kind of become aware of through some other channels, or reminded of through some other channels too. And it's called Mylio Photos, MYLIO. And it's like Apple Photos Pro for nerds. It's more advanced than Apple Photos. It's more complex than Apple Photos, but it is the tool that people who are frustrated with the limitations of Apple Photos or the user interface of Apple Photos, this is the one that you might really like. It's certainly worth checking out. And so it's at Mylio.com, MYLIO.com, which of course we will put in the show notes. But I think this is, I think it's worth taking a look at. And even if you're not sick of Apple Photos, it might also be worth taking a look at, because it does some things in a flexible way that only a third party could do, right? Like, so, yep. Have you used Mylio?
I played around with it.
Yep.
I'm an Apple Photos guy.
Same.
iCloud photo library I absolutely love, and the new sharing features and stuff like that. So I have no issues with that. But I'm all in on the Apple ecosystem.
Right.
But I totally understand people who don't want to be. And yeah, that was where my head immediately went. That was the service that I thought of.
Yeah.
What's the price point on that?
That's a great question, Pete. They have plans here. Let's go to the compare plans screen. So there's Mylio Photos, which is free. And you get, price. Yep, you can import everything you want. You can use their AI powered photo finder engine, photo editing, sort and organize in different spaces that they call them. Family history metadata. And then there is, for $10 a month, Mylio Photos Plus, which has all of that, plus accessing your library from all of your devices. So that cloud service, dedupe feature, security with their protection vaults, semi-private albums, and sharing of spaces. So, it's the freemium model here. Yeah. So $10 a month. If you want the cloud features, essentially. And more.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you for asking that question. I would not have, I did not think to share that. So, yeah. All right, Pete, speaking of you want to take us to Jane?
I can do that. Jane wrote in, and some of it was long, so I'm paring this down a little bit, taking some editing license, but I couldn't edit this first part out. This is a nice theme this week. Hi, Dave, Pilot Pete, and Adam. Longtime listener, and I thoroughly enjoy your podcast and all the excellent tips and questions answered. Thank you, guys. You all work so well together and are a delight to listen to. Aren't we just? I love it. Thank you. Those are great.
My audio on my Mac thinks we are not a delight to listen to today, but
yeah,
we'll edit that out for most of you. Yeah.
Exactly. But we've gotten several emails this week with some nice compliments, and boy, is it humbling. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Very kind.
She writes, we've stolen some iPhones. No, we have enabled stolen device protection and are happy it's now available. However, we're having difficulty finding out why our home is not considered a trusted location. I spent 3 hours with Apple Support Senior Advisor, eek, and I've tried a multitude of solutions, and sadly, none of them work. Our Wi-Fi signal is good, and we have no issues with connectivity on any of our devices. And then went through all the troubleshooting steps they tried. Some of the important ones are multiple device restarts, toggled off and back on again in Safari, and hide my IP, and reset location and privacy, which I did. And once you do that, you have to start re-enabling all the, yes, let it know my location with every app you open. Going ahead. So after all that, the significant locations worked for us for only one day, and we were out and about doing errands, but have not tracked us at all since then, even when we've been out with our phones. our contact info for our Me cards is correct with our address. I realize the benefits of stolen device protection far outweighs the 1 hour wait to make specific changes to our devices, like changing the passcode, that sort of thing. But I'm hoping you can offer me some suggestions so that my home location is accurate and allows changes to be done without the 1 hour wait. So I went in too, and Dave the Walgreens here in town was a trusted location, but my home was not, my work was not. I'm like, oh, that's weird. So I wiped all that out.
How much time are you spending at Walgreens? Are you
Right?
recording from Walgreens right now, Pete?
One would think so, apparently, because I had spent maybe 10 minutes there picking up some stuff from my mother about 2 hours before I started this. So I didn't spend 2 hours there.
Yeah.
It had been 2 hours prior. So I don't know. Look, I went in, I did all kinds of things. I went into the system settings and looked, other than Walgreens, no significant locations were listed. So I cycled the phone off, back on. I opened the Maps app. I scrolled down to the favorites and tapped add, typed in my address, selected it, scrolled down, typed add my home, done.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
All the things. Yeah.
Yeah. And long and short of it, I then found an article linked to by a gent named Theo Joe, Thiojoe on X. It says, guess what? You don't get to pick your familiar locations. You can't set your home or work or any other significant locations where it's safe to make changes. And the article offers a particular solution, but basically what I've done is I'm going to eat that hour. I've turned it off and just said, you know what? I get it. They don't want a thief to be able to, take your phone and go in the bathroom right there where you're at your place of work or something like that, and then make changes before you have a chance to fix it.
Yeah.
But I also said, if Dave or Adam have a different experience, I'm sure we'll talk about it on the show. So I don't know if you guys have specific locations on either of your iOS devices or not, or
I'm sure I do. I've seen them before, but
I thought I had two, but it was weird that my phone and my work were not there, because it always seems to recognize when I'm arriving at work or arriving at home. And
location services, system services.
I was going to ask, did we cover how to get there?
Yeah, it's settings, privacy and security, location services, system services, and then significant locations.
Yep.
And it's on, I show 144 records, and I don't get to see them. The only thing I see as a recent record is actually my therapist's home/office. That's it. I don't have it. I haven't been there and it's been several days. So that's cool.
Yeah, they used to show you. I thought they used to show you the list. Like I have similar thing. I've got 62 records. This is on my Mac. I don't know if it's the same or different on my iOS devices, but yeah. Walmart, which is where I went to do my eye exam.
Right.
So
of course,
as the most recent location. So I was there for, a minute. But 62 records between December 2023 and January 2024. So it looks like it's doing about a year's worth of
stuff. January 23. December of 2023 is last month. Yeah,
a month or so of stuff.
Yeah. You used to be able to see it, all of them. You can't. I understand from someone who wrote in, and forgive me, I didn't log your name in a way that I can easily refer to you during the show. So thank you. iOS 17.4 adds more granularity to this, probably specifically because of the issue that it causes with stolen device protection, right? I don't have to go see my therapist to unlock my iPhone.
Right.
Be a really kind of funny thing.
Dave, how does that make you feel?
Yeah, exactly.
Unlock your iPhone here.
Yeah.
I will say, when this came up on the last show, I haven't turned it on yet, and I expressed my concerns about this sort of thing happening, like how incredibly inconvenient it could be if it didn't work properly. And
so I think you might, I don't have all the details on this, but I think 17.4 might not just show you more, but also let you configure and set certain things as significant locations. But I like take a look at it when 17.4 comes out. We will too, and we'll talk about it on the show. But yeah.
I think one way to know. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. So I'm pretty sure I'm on 17.4 beta, and I hadn't gone anywhere with it.
Yeah.
And
okay, so you are on the beta. And if you go in there, you don't have any other options, right?
It looked like the problem is I hadn't been anywhere after I reset it, but and of course now I'm using it as my camera, so I can't run in there and look. But it looked like there was an option. It was kind of grayed out to see significant locations.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll find out. I'm curious to see what happens when you go in there a little bit later.
Real quick, I was going to say one way you might be able to crib what your current locations are is when I get in the car. I think that's what drives like your maps. So like if I drive away from my house and I'm getting back in the car, maps will suggest like home if I'm close enough to home.
Sure.
As like the place I'm going to. Or like when I get in the car here, it suggests a lot of the recent places I've been to, multiple times within town. So it's always been weird. It'll be like, oh, you want to go here? Do you want to go here? It's like, well, I go there a lot, but yeah, so.
Yep. All right. Reddy shares an interesting thing and asked a question in our Discord. Says, my neighbor who has an iPhone and a Mac sent me a text message yesterday at 1 p.m. while I was at work, away from home, which is where my Mac is. I did not get that message on my phone, though. Today, I logged into my Mac and saw the notification there. This happens from time to time and with slightly different circumstances. My Mac and iPhone are both signed into iCloud under the same account, and I only have one iCloud account. Are there any settings I can change so that anyone who sends me a text message will go to all of my Apple devices? And there was a fantastic conversation in Discord that transpired long before I even got there, which I love. And I believe it was Porthos John in Discord who pointed out and advised Reddy to check that the messages on your phone will be received at all the same phone numbers and emails that are set in your Mac. And so you do that by going into settings, messages, which I swear I'll find on my phone eventually. I got to get out of privacy and security here. But go to settings, messages, and then send and receive there. And you will see a list of all of presumably your phone number, and then all of the email addresses that are linked to your iCloud account. And you can link new ones at iCloud.com/mail, I believe. Or maybe it's just in the sort of the top level of your iCloud account. Because it doesn't have to just be your iCloud address. It can, like I have my Mac Geek Gab address in there and all of those things. And you can choose whether or not you will receive messages sent to those email addresses. And it turned out that Reddy had turned off all of the email addresses on his phone. And for whatever reason, his neighbor had his email address as his iMessage address to which he was sending things. And so those things would only appear on his Mac where he had all of those things selected. So it is important. What's nice is you can, in that same thing, you can choose one of your addresses to start new conversations from. And you can choose that to be your phone number or not your phone number. And I don't know that there's any one right answer for that. It defaults to your phone number. So that's what a lot of people use. It's what I use. But I have noticed when I'm traveling internationally or something, it's like, oh, I wish I had set it for people to use like my one of my email addresses. Although iCloud's pretty smart and it'll get it to your phone even if that SIM is offline because it knows you're logged into that iCloud account. And so your phone number becomes this sort of representation of you, not your actual, like you don't need that phone online. So it gets a little weird. But like when my daughter moved to Italy and gave up her US phone number, and, now she has an Italian phone number for her phone, and she pays $11 a month for 150 gigs of super high-speed data, which is awesome for her. Maybe €11, but it doesn't really matter. It's cheap. She had to like teach people how to contact her again, because if you texted her U.S. phone number, or even I messaged her U.S. phone number, it would no longer get to her. So that all needed to happen. So think about those things when you're making your choice about what do you want to have to deal with in the future. So,
and just real quick, if you're on the Mac, the way to get there is you have to open up Messages, go to Settings, and then click on the iMessage tab. And then there's a Settings panel in there where you can see the same information.
Yep. Thank you. Cool. All right. Shall we go to, hang on one second. I'm just going to knock on some wood here, Adam.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's been over 10 minutes since my audio has reset itself and forced us to have a nice little lag and an edit point in the show. So I knocked on the wood. Will you take us to Jan or Jan? I always forget. Jan. I think it's Jan. Yeah.
We'll say both. Jan says, does anyone know an iPhone home screen widget or a shortcut that will allow me to see the Wi-Fi network I am connected to without having to open up one of the settings apps? Or open up the settings app.
Yeah, this might be a geek challenge. I like this. So there again, this came in our Mac Geek Gab Discord, and there was some discussion about it. And Jim Has Fun said you can get this via shortcuts. Like you can, there is a shortcut action for get Wi-Fi network's network name, and then you can show that, right? So a shortcut could do this. And if you have an iPhone 15 Pro with the action button, you can assign that shortcut to the action button. So all you got to do is hit the action button and it shows it to you. But that's a little bit tedious. You can also save a shortcut to your iPhone home screen if you want to just tap it and do that. You can, of course, pull down from the right upper right-hand corner of your iPhone to pull down Control Center and see the Wi-Fi network name because it's going to show it there. But there's no way to just have it displayed on your phone that I have found. No. Although, like, I looked in Widgetsmith, the third-party app that does a lot of cool things with widgets. And if you haven't checked out Widgetsmith, I highly recommend it. Yeah. But they don't have a particular widget for showing your Wi-Fi network name. You could request it as a feature. But I feel like we're close to, like, you could run a shortcut every 10 minutes that went and grabbed it and stuffed it into a variable somewhere. And then, you know, could you somehow update your like, I feel like we're really I don't know. What do you think? Adam, do you have any thoughts on like how we can get there with the data that we know we have?
No, but I mean, it sounds like something that somebody could probably quickly write as a widget. Like, I don't know how like we need a developer to just make it. Like,
yeah, but that's you.
Maybe it is me. I'm thinking about it now. It's like, oh, I've never tried to make a widget. I wonder what's involved. I might look into it. But no, I mean, it seems like an obvious thing. Like, it'd be interesting that it's interesting to me that no one's done like a Wi-Fi widget that would show Wi-Fi details on a widget, but maybe it's a security thing. I don't know. I'd have to do some research.
Hang on. Is there a Wi-Fi widget? Wi-Fi Man adds iOS 4. This is from 2020, an article I found at iMore. Wi-Fi Man adds iOS 14 widgets that show your Wi-Fi usage on your home screen. Does it show you view usage data per SSID? So maybe, I don't know. We'll put a link to Wi-Fi Man in there to remind both us and you to check that out.
Yeah, why not have a widget that shows your SSID, what you're connected to, the data rates that you're getting currently, and like your IP address?
That would be amazing. Like I could see that being helpful.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. All right,
while you were talking, I muted my mic and I said, lady, what Wi-Fi network am I on? And she goes, I can't help you with that on the Apple Watch. I'm like, because again, my phone's being used as a camera. Yeah. But I thought, well, you know, because I was thinking you could set up a shortcut where the action button on your Watch Ultra would bring that information up.
Well, let me try it. And my apologies. Yeah. Siri, what Wi-Fi network am I on? Let's see. It just shows me that I am connected to Wi-Fi, and it would let me turn it off, but it does not. Yeah. Like, it pulls down a widget I've never seen before, and oh, come on, Siri. That just shows I can turn Wi-Fi on and off, but it doesn't show me any details. So cool. Yep. All right, where are we on time and time? I think it's time to, well, I want to do a little show business quickly here because I want to take a minute and say thank you to all of you who in the past few weeks have sent in your contributions to our Mac Geek Gab premium program, which you can learn about at macgeekgab.com/premium. As I always say, and it remains, this is optional, certainly not mandatory. It, however, is extremely helpful and really makes a difference for us in terms of being able to do what we do. So thank you to all of you who participate in the premium program. And in the last few weeks, we have quite a few to go through. We have received $10 donations from and thanks to Timothy in West Windsor, Frank in Voorhees, Warren in Gloucester, Barry in Des Plaines, Brian in Southbury, Santiago in Palm City, John in Wake Forest, Kevin in Edison, Michael in Robbins, Matthew in Forked River, Bill with an APO address, Frank in Tunbridge, Jeff in Chesterton, James in Amity Harbor, Joseph in Marietta, Paul in Lawrenceville, Jonathan in Plainsboro, Gary in Babylon, John in Vienna, Stephen in Costa Mesa, James in Melbourne, Olga in Bellevue, Robert in Columbiana, Jason in Charlestown, Nick in Mount Clemens, Dave in Durham, because I sign up and test to make sure the system works, Bob in LaPeche, Graham in Yelverton, my apologies, $15 thanks to Bob in LaPeche, and $25 thanks to Graham in Yelverton, Deb in San Clemente, Jay Walter in Long Island City, Robert in Sioux Falls, Racer from Parts Unknown, Michael in Rochester, Michael in I don't know where, Mark in New Fairfield, Ralph in Attleboro, Tim in Bright, William in Verona, Joseph in Shorewood, I'll get there, hang on, Mark in Parts Unknown, I think Massachusetts, and James in Chester. And then we had a $30 contribution from Jim in San Jose. Thanks to Anthony in Rockville for a $50 contribution. Thanks to John in VV for a $60 contribution. In addition, Scott in Calabasas for a $60 contribution. And $100 thanks to Mark in Oklahoma City. You all rock. Thank you very much. And now let's go to some cool stuff found. Adam, you want to tell us about this thing you got or that you used?
Yeah, a couple. It was like we're gonna do that. I'm sorry.
Cool stuff. Cool stuff found.
Yeah, were we gonna do the CFF? Oh yeah, the Spigen.
The
Spigen ArcField. Yeah, sorry.
It's all good. It really doesn't
I got
matter.
thrown off, and now the air raid siren's going off. So hopefully
amazing.
You can't hear that. So I have had an Apple Watch for a long time, and more recently I started wanting to do the sleep tracking thing. So I've been sleeping with my Apple Watch, but that means when I get up in the morning, the battery is about 20-25% usually from the previous day. And so I have a stand next to my nightstand where I put my Apple Watch and things to charge, but I'm not putting it there at night. Get up in the morning and I would be in my office and sure enough, my Apple Watch would go dead. So I wanted to get a little charging stand for my office. And so I did some searching around on Amazon and I found the Spigen, however you say it, ArcField watch stand. And it's a simple little watch stand. It's integrated in terms of the little charging puck, but it's 100% Apple Watch compatible. So it's like official, a little more on the expensive side because of that. And it's a nice little stand and it's like perfect. It comes with little risers depending upon the size of your Apple Watch, little inserts you put in. So it'll put it at the correct right angle. It sits horizontally. So you get the cool, like the time displays as it's charging and you can press
the nightstand mode.
Nightstand mode. So it works with that. It does have an integrated cable, which is not always my favorite thing. So the cable's non-detachable.
Yeah.
But in this case, you don't really move it around, so that doesn't bother me as much. I worry about the cable breaking, and then I got to get a whole new thing. So that's maybe not the best part of it. But the other thing that happened was I was sitting here, and I had my AirPods, and those needed to charge. And I went, I wonder if I could throw my AirPods on there, my AirPods Pro. Sure enough, I put the charging case on there. It locked in with a magnet and went ding, and started charging those too. And I have the first gens, so I thought that was a second gen version.
Yeah,
but
we were talking about that pre-show. I agree with you. I thought it was only the second gens that would charge on the watch puck and not the first gens. But you didn't replace your case, right? Your case is
no.
OG. Yeah,
not at all. Yeah, original case. So it all worked, and it's a nice little compact stand. It's nicely weighted on the bottom, so it's got good heavy
That's
weight to it. So when you lift things off, it stuff doesn't go flying. I think the price on the website was about $54. I think I paid less on Amazon. I don't remember
Amazon.
what I paid.
Okay. We'll find an Amazon link for that for sure. Okay.
Yeah, but maybe I did. Again, it's the official puck, so we were talking about the licensing and all that costs extra. Right?
Yeah.
So
all right. Well, I will share the next thing here. Oh no, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, someone was showing the MagGo.
That's the next thing I was going to talk about here.
Okay, cool.
I was prepping things, and Pete jumped the gun. It's totally fine.
Producing the show too early.
Go.
Yep. No, so I have an admission to make. I must share, because just 2 weeks ago, whatever the episode was that we recorded right before CES, somebody wrote in and said, "What's the best travel charger, 3-way travel charger that I can use for my iPhone and watch and AirPods while I'm traveling and put them all on the MagSafe and all that stuff?" And I sat here and said what I firmly believed in the moment, and I still kind of believe, is that a cable is what I use when I travel, because it's the best way to ensure that you're not going to wake up with a dead phone in the morning. And then we started going and seeing all of the cool stuff at CES, and we ran into the folks at Anker early on in our journeys there, and they had what they call the Anker MagGo wireless charging station. And they gave me one to experiment with while at CES. And from that moment forward, every night at CES, this is the only thing I used. And it is a 3-in-1 thing. It's about the size, like 2 dimensions of it are about the size of a credit card. It is much thicker than that. It's about the thickness of 2 iPhones when it's all collapsed, but it is foldable. And it has the not MagSafe, but Qi 2 pad, which is essentially MagSafe. So it's got a Qi 2 pad for your phone. It's got a Qi pad for your AirPods kind of inside it when you lift up the Qi pad for your phone. And then it's got a little watch puck that sort of flips out the back of it. So you've got this really compact thing where you can charge your watch, your phone, and your AirPods all at the same time. It does have a detachable cable. It's a USB-C. So I just used the USB-C cable that was right there that I already had on my, set up on my bedside table in the hotel room. And I just plugged that in and everything worked great. And because it's Qi 2 and not MagSafe, it's a little bit cheaper than the 3-in-1s that you would pay for when it was MagSafe, because the 3-in-1, this is $110, which is not inexpensive. But if it were MagSafe, paying the Apple licensing fees and all of that, you would be paying $150 for it, like all the other MagSafe ones. So yay, Qi 2, the price. I mean, you still have to pay for Qi 2 certification, but at least it's slightly less. So there you go.
Dave, that
appears to be about the size of a deck of cards.
About the size of a deck of cards. That's really the right way.
Yeah, maybe
a little thicker. Deck and a half of cards. Yeah,
close to the dimensions for sure.
Yeah, that's a great way of saying it. Yep.
That's nice.
Yeah.
The question I had
awesome.
is that picture shows a USB-C cable and a wall wart. Is that included, or are they just showing that in the Amazon picture?
No, it is included. You get the deck of cards and the USB-C cable, which theirs comes with a little right angle on it, which is nice. And then, of course, the wall wart that powers it. If you can use it with any wall wart, obviously, that's providing enough power. But yeah,
but that's like, I mean, I'm just thinking that's like another $30 worth of stuff.
That's fair. Yeah,
if you're
absolutely right. Yeah. Yep. No, that all comes in the box.
Mine didn't come with that, so I had to get another wall plug or whatever, and $20.
That's a really
for a wall
fair
plug,
point.
$20-$30 for a cable. Like,
Yep. All right, Pete, you got a cool stuff found to share with us for today?
I do. The Chipolo card, perfectly imperfect card. It's about the size of a credit card, slightly thicker, and so fits in your wallet and works with Apple FindMy. And boy, I got one at CES, and I stuck it in my wallet, and boy, was I glad to have that, because going through security in Mumbai, India, you pull everything. Did I say everything? I meant everything comes out of your bag, except for your clothes. Anything with a wire, all the chargers, all the cables, all got to come out and go in the bucket. So needless to say, that takes me a little bit of time since I travel with podcasting equipment.
Yeah, right.
So I'm rushing and I'm trying to get it all back because there's people standing behind me waiting for this idiot to get his stuff back in his bag. And so I'm trying to get it all in there. And I have this wallet that I have my pilot's license, my medical, all the stuff that allows me to fly legally all over the world. And then my passport goes in there too. Well, I had stuck my passport in my breast pocket because I need to show that to walk through the security screener. And I just quickly stuck the wallet into one of the pockets in my suitcase, which I never do. I'm very, I can wake up in the middle of the night and go find, a Tums. I know what pocket it's in. I know I don't have to turn on the lights on. I can do all that. Well,
yeah, of course.
I could not find my wallet anywhere. And I'm like, oh crap, did I leave it at security?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm going to have to get off this airplane and go back to security because I cannot legally fly and I don't need to land in Singapore and get ramp checked and not have my licenses and be hauled off to the hokey pokey.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. I've heard they might like lop your hand off for that.
Yeah, well, at least smack you with a cane a few times.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my God. And then at the last minute I went, oh, I've got the Chipolo card. So I pulled up my phone and I ran and I heard it. I went, it's in my bag somewhere. I'm good to go. Sat down and I dug it out when we landed in Dubai.
That's cool. And you mentioned that this is the perfectly imperfect edition of what the product is called the Chipolo Card Spot. It's a FindMy card, as you just articulated. The perfectly imperfect version or edition is because they had some manufacturing errors that caused some cosmetic blemishes on these things. And instead of throwing them away, they thought, well, let's just embrace it. And they came up with this cool, script logo of perfectly imperfect. And they say it is almost black. I think that was one of the problems is it came out more charcoal gray than anyone anticipated. But instead of throwing them away, they sell them for $35 on their website, which is a little bit less than they were going to sell them for otherwise. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then that was it. It was embrace your imperfections. And then they actually, at CES, they had us write our imperfections on the board. Right?
That's right.
Yeah. And someone had, I'm lazy. And I wrote, I'm lazier. And someone said, well, they can come along and say I'm laziest. I said I would have written that, but it was too many letters.
That was fun. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. So we'll put that in the show notes. Adam, I know we are running tight on time here, but this one I think is timely and important. So you want to share what Bill shared with us?
Yeah, Bill sent me this really cool thing, and unfortunately, this was a live event, missed it. It was Apple's insanely great Apple Mac at 40 event, because recently the Apple Macintosh turned 40. Yeah. And the Computer History Museum held this event with a bunch of the original Mac team and did an interview and all that sort of stuff. It was live, and we were going to talk about this. It happened on January 24th, live streamed. I totally missed it. I didn't have time to tune into it. And I was hoping it would show up on their YouTube channel. And sure enough, now it has. So you can go to youtube.com/computerhistory and it is in their videos there on YouTube. So you can watch the whole thing in its entirety. And that's really cool.
I started watching it. I've actually got it. I used the command line tool YT-DLP to save that YouTube video to my iPad, to my Plex library, which now on my iPad, so I can watch it on the plane to Mexico in a few weeks, and it's about 2 hours long. So give yourself some time. But David Pogue hosted it. A lot of the original Mac design team is there, being interviewed. Very similar, it seems on the surface anyway, to what we did 10 years ago, the Mac 30th event, which was held at the Flint Center, which was cool. The Macworld All-Star Band played at that event, and it was cool being on stage with an original Mac on the little podium in the corner, just like it was when it was first announced in 40 years ago. So, but I'm looking forward to watching this. There's also an exhibit at the Computer History Museum that's on display for the next month. So if you are in or around San Francisco, you can go to it. But if you can't, visit the website where they show some of the things and have some of the pictures of some of the artifacts and that sort of thing right there on the web for us. So links to all of these things, including the YouTuber in the show notes. Yeah.
That book you just scrolled by is just amazing too. The
which book? How the Mac was made?
How the Mac was made, yeah.
Revolution in the Valley. Yeah.
That was Andy Hertzfeld wrote it, I think, or?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great book. I have that in my library. I love that book.
I don't know that I've ever read this book, so we are putting a link to that in the show notes too, my friends.
It's a collection of short stories about different events. There's a great piece about rounded rectangles, about the day that Steve Jobs, him and Steve Jobs were walking down the street, and Steve, talked about rounded rectangles, and then he went back after that and then made rounded rectangles on everything on the Mac.
Oh, yeah. I think I've read some of these stories. Now, that one doesn't sound familiar, but yeah.
There's also a podcast that he did, or he allowed someone to do, that are those stories. It's like archive.org or something. I think his site is archive.org, but there is a podcast that has them just that read out too. Yep.
Cool. Thank you for that. That's great. Thank you for that, Bill. Thanks everybody for all of the great, cool stuff that you sent in, all your great questions and your tips. And thanks to the audio gods for only letting us have 2 instances of audio death so far. Hang on. Knock on wood. But we survived the audio death, so there you go.
You got caught, Dave.
We did get caught. It's interesting. It's where Core Audio just resets all the devices very quickly on my Mac, but it causes a few things to just go haywire and need sort of a manual nudge that takes all of about 30 or 40 seconds to do. I've seen this happen before, never this frequently though. So I wish it would happen in a sense more frequently so that I could troubleshoot it and figure out what's going on. Until then, we just keep our fingers crossed and we knock on wood. Thanks for hanging out with us, folks. Thanks to CashFly for providing all the bandwidth to get the show from us to you. Thanks, of course, to our sponsors. You can learn all about our sponsors at macgeekgab.com/sponsors. They are automatically filled in there. And plus, we highlight a few that are sort of the key. So check it out, macgeekgab.com/sponsors. Feedback at macgeekgab.com. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for everything. Thanks for all your kind compliments and comments. We lead charmed lives here. Absolutely. Pete, what's your shirt say?
Well, in English it says "don't get caught." In German it says
Lass dich nicht erwischen.
Made on a Mac. Whew, made it. And
Just
we're
in
out.
time.
Oh my God, it just went away. Literally just went away. Can you guys hear me?
No.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Fine.
Okay. It something happened again. But this time I didn't lose, logic didn't get lost. So, all right, now we're really going to leave. Okay, now I've cut the recording. Great. Whew.
Unfortunately,
Man.
I have to run or I'm going to miss my meeting. So
go.
I'm going to drop off.
Later.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Sorry. Yep.
No problem.
Cool. All right. Well, I need to do edits, unfortunately, for today. Yeah. I can't do any of my quick do this things.
Yeah.
But I got to do all the edits first. So,
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should end the stream then.
Well, it's time to end the stream.
Let's
Thanks for
say
hanging out with us, everybody.
Guten Tag all. Yeah. Thanks for hanging.
We'll see you on Thursday. Thursday at 9 a.m. because of your flight schedule. But I will share it with everybody on the live stream. We have none other than Mr. John F. Braun on deck for Thursday for episode 1024. So excited to have him back.
Our gigabit episode.
Yeah, it'll be a good one.
Or megabyte episode.
Yeah. Kilobyte.
Yeah.
Kilobyte. Right. 1K.
Yeah. 1K. There we go. 1024.
Yep. All right. Later, everybody.
Ta-ta for now.
Later.